Okay, surf fluking. Before we get to the action, just a quick update on private lessons. I've done a number of these now, and frankly that's part of the reason I haven't uploaded in a few weeks. The lessons are rather intensive, and there's not really any time for me to fish and record content during the sessions. But I've met some incredible people, and they've really helped me understand how to structure these lessons in a way that makes sense. I've always focused on the fundamentals and mechanics of fishing, all the various physical executions that translate into core fishing skills. And I've discovered that even something as basic as a proper jig hook set should be broken down into individual steps when you're trying to explain the concept to someone. Anyway, all of you who have signed up for lessons, I really appreciate the time we spent on the water. As I mentioned before, these lessons are truly a viable shortcut if you don't have the time or energy to put things together just based on watching the videos. And just so the rest of you know, part of the package is continued technical support, so to speak, after the lesson is over, via DMs, texts, even the occasional phone call. As long as you're not a complete psychopath, we'll keep in touch. Anyone interested in a one-on-one session on mastering light tackle jigging from shore, boat, kayak, and possibly jerkbaits too, although that lesson plan is a work in progress. I'll leave my contact info in the description below. A little over 5.
We'll call it 6, almost 6.
Wow. Okay, here we are at the first location, and here I'm using the 6-inch Gulp Jerkshad with the 1/4 ounce gammy jig head. Pretty standard fare. You guys see me do a lot with jerkbaits and different hard baits, but at the end of the day, if you just want to catch fluke, this is the technique that you really have to hone and get it to be second nature. So here, there's a little bit of white water, but it's nothing serious. 1/4 ounce is more than heavy enough. Any kind of conditions you are out front in South Jersey, North Jersey, you're only casting into 8 to 10 feet of water. Not the targeted species, but I'll take it. And I've been seeing a lot more this size bass cruising up and down the shoreline this year. First fluke of the day is pretty decent keeper, and once again, only fish over 18 inches will be called keepers on this channel. I really do hope that next year New Jersey figures out whatever they need to figure out and do away with the slot limit. There's so many reasons why that is such a terrible idea, but we'll get into that in subsequent videos. Okay, second fish, second keeper. This one is pretty nice. I think it was 22 or 23 inches. Um, it came out of no more than 4 feet of water. So if it weren't for casting distance in this type of calm conditions, very, very shallow water, dead low tide, you can probably use 1/8 ounce or even a weightless jerkshad and catch them. But quarter ounce is just a good balance. If you have some wind, you can still punch through, and if you're really shallow, you can still kind of manipulate the glide to keep it above the bottom. Okay, so here it's after the thunderstorms passed through. I don't think it really rained, but I'm not one to hold a 7-foot graphite stick on the beach when there's thunder around. In any case, I'm just testing out the jerkbait bite. Hasn't really been happening for a while. And I also noticed that there's a little bit more bait in the water on that trip. So we'll see what happens here. As usual, that fish came on the pause, and I mentioned in a previous jerkbait video that for saltwater, for Fluke anyway, I tuned these freshwater jerkbaits to have a slow rise, and I've noticed that fishing out front with wave action and generally pretty shallow, as I mentioned earlier, I want the float to be a little bit faster. So instead of sink rate, if you're using a jerkbait in this kind of scenario, you're thinking about the float rate. And I haven't really put a timer to it, but a foot per second sounds about right. Here at the start of the retrieve, you see me working the jerkbait to the side, and that's your normal cadence and technique for jerkbaiting. But since you're on shore, as it gets closer in and gets shallower, you see me move the rod tip to a high position, almost like I'm jigging. And here I'm just keeping the bait flat. Every time I pause, the bait is rising and is sort of walking itself upslope. Dumped it. And yeah, these aren't big fish, but I would take a jerkbait short over any kind of barely keeper. 18, 19 inches. Give me a 14-inch jerkbait fish. Here, pay attention. I'm going to slow it down in the next clip. But if you look right there, that fluke came into inches of water chasing my jerkbait up. So I'm going to make the same cast right back, and she's going to go for it.
That is 19.
Nice. Too bad you got your... Okay, so that's my proper limit, and I'm gonna call it a day. I think I could have caught more keepers if I stuck with the jerkshad, but if they're eating the jerkbait, it's really hard for me to resist. In any case, thanks for watching, guys. Tight lines, and I'll see you on the next video.